Thank you very much. My name is Katie Lay, and we are the Wesley-Bellringers from Christ United Methodist Church in Salt Lake City. I'd like to start this evening by thanking you all for being here tonight. I know that there are many things that you could do with your time, and we're thankful that you chose to be here tonight so we could share our music with you. Throughout the program, I'm going to give you a little bit of information about our ringers, the music, our program, the instruments that we use. But if I don't answer a question that you have, please hold on to it. There will be time later on in the program for a question and answer period, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. For now, we are just excited to get to some music. We hope that you enjoy the program. Thank you very much. Our choir was founded in 1963 by a man named Ed Duncan, who was then serving as the youth director at that time. He felt that his teenagers didn't have enough stuff to do, so he managed to convince the 9 original ringers to raise money by selling hoagie sandwiches in order to afford their first set of 25 English handbells. The choir has been in continuous operation since that time, and over 500 teenagers have participated in the program, something we're very proud of. The choir played its first performance in December of that year, and obviously we are a bell choir, so Christmas is a big deal, but because of that, it holds a little special place in our hearts. That last piece was from our 2023 Christmas program. I always like to leave a couple of Christmas songs in our summer program because sometimes if people come to a bell concert and they don't hear a Christmas song, they feel a little cheated. So that's the first one. The second one is pretty clearly labeled as you're in your program. That's a little bit later on. This next piece requires a little bit of introduction because it is conducted by our assistant director, C.P. Eubanks. I would like you to welcome C.P. Thank you very much. The Ringers work throughout the school year preparing their music. We rehearse for 4 hours a week, an hour and a half on Tuesday nights and 2.5 hours on Sunday nights. We also host 2 rehearsal retreat weekends, one in the fall to prepare for our Christmas season and one in the spring to prepare for our summer tour. We pack up all of our equipment and we take it to a local church camp. And we set it all out, and we practice for the weekend. They also get to eat and sleep and have fun and do homework, I promise. But that's where we get the majority of our prep work for these big seasons. The Ringers work year-round, raising money to afford new equipment, new uniforms, new music, and to be able to go on these summer tours. The hoagie sandwiches that I mentioned earlier were a fundraiser for many, many, many years. That changed into a Valentine's Day dinner and dance for our congregation and the surrounding community. We've sold wrapping paper, we've hosted pancake breakfasts, you name it, we've done it. We even rent out ringers for manual labor, yard work, shoveling snow, you name it. Our biggest fundraiser is what we call a rummage sale. All year round, we collect gently used, unwanted items from our congregation and the surrounding community, and we pack them all downstairs in our very spacious church basement. Twice a year, we haul it all up, set it all out, and sell it, usually back to the people who donated to us in the first place. It's a pretty good cycle we've got going on. Another way that we support ourselves is by soliciting a free will offering at each of our programs, which is what this particular talking point has been leading up to. During the next piece, our chaperones will be passing the plate. I do put the emphasis on free will, but if you feel so inclined to support us in our music ministry, we would greatly appreciate your kindness. And there is also a QR code that we have, I think it's at the back this direction, since that's the way we'll all be exiting, if you prefer to donate electronically. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to take a moment now to tell you about the instruments that we use. We ring a 6-octave set of Malmark English handbells. That's the bronze bell that you've heard most this evening. The largest of these is the G2, which looks and sounds like this. That bell weighs 20 pounds at the beginning of the concert. The smallest of these bells is the A8, which looks and sounds like this, which is basically just a shot glass on a handle. We also ring a 6-octave set of Malmark hand chimes. That's the silver and black rectangular instrument, that soft tone you've heard a little bit this afternoon. The largest of these is also the G2, which looks and sounds like this. It's essentially a metal 2x4 back there. We ring a 2-octave set of Schulmerich silver melody bells. This is the silver cylindrical bell you heard a little bit earlier. They look and sound like this. That nice, bright, crisp tone. We like to use those to accentuate melody lines where we can. We also ring a 2-octave set of Whitechapel cup bells, and they look and sound like this. A much softer, gentler tone that can really fill out the sound of our choir. In the back, we have our percussion station. They have a variety of instruments back there. They have a glockenspiel. You heard a marimba earlier. They have a set of orchestra chimes. On Marisha's left is a set of Pettit and Fritzen handbells. This is a Dutch bell, and they look and sound like this. I call them handbells because they indeed used to have handles and clapper mechanisms like our Malmarks do, but Pettit and Fritzen no longer manufactures that bell or parts for that bell. So over the years, as our set broke and broke and broke, and we ran out of proper repair parts and could no longer scrounge anymore, we decided to strip those bells down and hang them from a carillon rather than lose their unique sound. In front of Marisha is an instrument that we believe is unique to the Wesley Bellringers called the boomagong, and it sounds like this. A gentleman heard the choir play in the early years just as they were starting to make some of those big bass bells that you see on the back row there. And he wanted to give the choir a deeper, fuller sound. So together with our founding director, Ed Duncan, he created this instrument. He hoped to mass market that instrument everywhere to handbell choirs as a cheaper alternative to buying that lowest set of bells. Unfortunately for the bell ringing world, it didn't work out that way, but luckily for us, we got a boomagong out of it. There are a few more sort of surprise instruments that are going to be featured in our next piece, so I encourage you to keep your eyes and ears peeled for those. You'll notice that the next piece in our program is arranged by Ed Duncan, our founding director. When our choir was founded, handbell music was very scarce. You either wrote or arranged your own pieces, or you rang straight out of the original. Ed arranged a great many pieces for our choir, and we like to sprinkle them in to our summer program where we can. This is a very fun arrangement of Pop Goes the Weasel. We hope that you enjoy. As you might imagine, a choir that's been around for 60 years might have a lot of special traditions. There's one that we are going to share with you now. We call it the senior piece. Every year we allow our high school seniors and college freshmen to come together to form a sub-choir and prepare a piece of music for our summer program. They get to select or arrange the song. They get to determine who plays what bells, and they get to set up their rehearsal schedule. They, with the assistance of our assistant director, Molly Chittister, are entirely responsible for putting this piece together for you tonight. The song that they have selected is Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven, and I'd like you to welcome our seniors and Molly. While the ringers get set up for the next piece, we have time for that question and answer period that I mentioned earlier. Does anyone have any questions about our ringers, the music, the instruments, anything that I can answer for you? Yes? When they're holding two bells, they can do either. They can ring both together or one or the other. Our clappers are one directional, meaning they will only strike once, one way, unless you use a lot of force to get them to ring backwards. So they can set it up so that both of the clappers are facing the same direction and ring like this, or they can set it up so that they're facing opposite directions and ring with a knocking motion or a traditional ringing motion. Good question. Are there any other questions that I can answer? Our ringers are in 9th grade through their freshman year of college. Once they hit that freshman year, their wrists and elbows start to go out, and, we've got to put them out to pasture. No. Once they hit their freshman year in college, they're typically ready to move on to the next sort of chapter of their lives. And when we start in the fall, we'll sometimes have 14-year-olds. And 14 or 15 to 19 is quite a big age range. Anything bigger than that, and it's just hard to bring that large of an age group together for the kind of trips that we do and the kind of performance schedules that we run. Yes? We practice a lot. Our bells can be turned down in volume. The clappers are adjustable so that there's just a plain clapper setting, and then there is one that has a hollow or a little hole sort of hollowed out, which makes it a little bit softer. And then there's also either, depending on the range of the bell, another hole that's a different size, or even a felt covering for one of the sides of the clapper head. However, we don't change the settings on our bells simply because it would be way too chaotic. Some of the bell ringers have 4, 5, 6 bells in front of them, and to have to remember, okay, for this song I need, medium or soft would be just too much. So we practice a lot, and they get used to their bell, be it the weight of the bell and what they have to do to ring that particular instrument, or the tension of the clapper, the springs rather. So it's all muscle memory, really. Good question. Yes? How do you decide, or do they decide who plays what? Well, there is preference for which spots they want. A lot of factors go into it. Usually when someone is brand new to bell ringing, we put them on a spot that has a little bit less action. There are some bells, some positions that just are typically more complex based on key signature and that sort of thing. And then once they get really comfortable and have shown, solid work ethic and that they want to learn and want to work hard, then we can move them around to different spots. When a ringer has been in for 4 or 5 years, they're quite skilled and comfortable all the way across most of the bells. Obviously, our big bass bells take a lot of commitment to want to ring those, so not everybody can jump back there. But as our ringers age out, those more experienced ringers, we want to have fresh, well-trained ringers who can take their positions and sort of fill in. Yes? So they were, what that technique is called a mart. So they're taking the bell itself. Connor's going to remove a stand and show you. They're taking the bell itself and gently striking it on the table. And you can also do a technique called a mart lift. So it's just a different sort of tone than a regular strike. You're welcome. Yes? I don't think any of these are from the original set. We actually, I believe when we first started ringing, we played Schulmerichs. which is a different brand of bells. And then we switched to Malmark. I don't know what decade we switched to Malmark. Who polishes the bells? We do, not as often as we should, because it takes a really long time. But the oldest piece of equipment, I would say, is probably the boomagong. And maybe the cup bells. Oh, the cup bells are probably older than the boomagong. But, yeah. We thankfully don't ever have to replace a set all at once. Typically, a bell will just break, and then we'll replace that one. And the bells only really break by breaking the casting. So the actual metal, you can fracture that if you hit it too hard or if you drop it. So we hopefully won't have to do that for any bell anytime soon. Yes?
So when you talk about your scales, are you talking about a chromatic scale of 6 octaves, or do you have certain keys?
No, we have a chromatic scale of 6 octaves, so all the sharps and flats.
Does that include just the handbells or also some?
Some of the other instruments are also chromatic as well. The boomagong, or 6 octaves is just the bells and the hand chimes. The orchestra chimes are an octave and a half. The pedit and fritzens are an octave and a half. And then the other smaller sets up front are 2 octaves. Overall, yes. 6 octaves, yes. Yes? It depends. It depends on how big a set you want. I looked this up not too long ago, and now I can't remember. Has anybody looked up a 6 octave set lately?
Oh, not a 6 octave set, but like for an octave, I think it's for one of the middle octaves, I want to say is about $5,000.
They're several $1,000s. CP knows. CP's got the website pulled up. A 6 octave set is $56,000. All at once, if you buy it all at once. Bells range anywhere from a couple $100s to, I think, over $1,000 for some of the bigger ones, just at one shot. So we don't like to buy new bells very much. We're lucky that we have a long history of a big collection of bells. Any other questions? Excellent. If you think of a question later on, please hold on to it and feel free to approach myself, our assistant directors, our chaperones, or the ringers. We all love to talk about what we do, and we would be happy to answer any additional questions that you might have. The next piece in our program is an arrangement from Disney's Hercules of Go the Distance. We hope that you enjoy. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Pastor Chad and Epworth United Methodist for hosting us tonight. We had a lovely dinner, and they are actually housing us overnight in their home, so we are very grateful to all of you for being our hosts this evening. Tours like ours would not be possible without the generosity of host congregations like yours, so thank you very much for making this happen. I'd also like to thank our audience, because concerts and programs and tours like ours aren't very fun without an audience. So thank you for being here tonight. If you are hosting us, please stick around after the concert. We are going to tear down, but believe it or not, it only takes about 15 minutes. They're really excited to get on with the evening. So they're going to tear down really fast, and then we can pair you up with your ringers and send you on your way. I invite you to take a look in your program. The rest of our tour schedule is printed in there. And if you have any friends or family near any of our next stops, we would appreciate it if you might drop them a line if you think they'd enjoy our program. We'd love to see more friendly faces down the road. Again, thank you for being here this evening. We hope that you've enjoyed the concert, and we hope that you have a safe and happy summer.